Excellent. All right, I'm getting stuff out of my hands too. Oh, good. You guys wear name tags? That is so awesome. My name's Margot.
Hi, I'm Louisa.
Good to see you, Louisa.
Nice to meet you.
Really nice to meet you. Stephen, our interview space is going to be over there in those two chairs, but you don't have to go there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get them all in, though.
Yeah. Wait, what did you mean by that? Get all the people? Yes, we will. We will. Okay. And I love that you wear name tags. Why do you do that?
Attendance.
Nice. And you get to learn each other's names. Oftentimes in big classes, people don't know who's who. Great. All righty. Good, we have some extra room for anybody else. Terrific. Good. So, Jane, do you want to do any kind of introduction? Stephen, do you want to do any kind of introduction?
Yeah, I'm telling them to put everything up and get their hands free.
Yeah, it would be wiser if stuff was just all in one place over by the wall or underneath a chair that they know they can come back to.
I'm just going to say one thing.
Let me
Sure.
introduce you.
Okay.
It won't come.
I need your help. Do I have any bald spots on the back of my head? In my hair?
Chair, so your hands are free, hands free. So clearly this is a different experience, right? Keep an open mind.
You really have to yell.
It's about solving problems. Let me very quickly introduce our guest. Jane Hirschberg is with the Clarice Smith Center for the Performing Arts. She'll introduce our artist.
Hi guys, Jane Hirschberg. I'm the Campus and Community Engagement Manager at the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Center. One of the programs that we have is something called Next Book, which gives an opportunity for artists to have time, space, and dollars to develop new work up at Mount Rainier at Joe's Movement Emporium, which is one of our partnering organizations, and Margot Greenlee and Bodywise Dance, with her fabulous acting performance that you're going to see, was granted one of these residencies, and this activity that's happening right now is happening as a part of that residency.
So the whole point is, can they translate our work in health policy in the U.S. public art broken system, or whatever degree it's in, into artistic expression, and can that help us think through problem solving in creative and complex ways?
Great.
Margot?
Great. Thank you. I'm going to let them come in. Please put all of your belongings by the wall and join me in one of the purple chairs, or if you prefer, you can always make yourself more comfortable on the floor. I am a floor sitter. I love to be on the ground, so if that's going to be more comfortable for you, make that choice, okay? Can you hear me? Excellent. The sound quality in this room is very challenging, but we are going to do this together. Stephen said, yes, my name is Margot Greenlee. I'm a choreographer. And today we are going to dive into typical classroom material, but in a very different way. We're going to combine the lecture format with performance elements, such as movement, character, and theatrical scenes. The goal of today is to get more curious and invested in the topic. The goal is not to learn everything about the topic. That will come later. Okay? We are going to bounce back and forth between doing and discussing. You are not audience, you are participants. Yes? So, it's going to go fast. You won't hear and see everything. There are going to be multiple stories happening at once sometimes. It is meant to be confusing and complex. Push through and just enjoy that for today. We're going to start with a warm-up. The first 15 minutes of this is all about warming you up so that you can do your best thinking. Okay? So please stand. We're going to walk in a circle together, counterclockwise, 5 steps. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now find a new chair. Turn right and left and say hello to the people that you're next to. Double check that you know their names. If you end up as a soloist, find a duet very quickly. Yeah. Today we're going to work a lot in conversation with each other. So when I move you, if you end up as a soloist, just make sure that you can then go find somebody to be a duet. Let's try that again. Stand on up. Great. We're going to move counterclockwise 5 steps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And volunteer yourself to a duet or a trio. There you go. You've got it. Yeah. Mike and Lexi. Yeah. You're like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. What's your name?
Oh, Dennis.
Dennis. Okay. So double check you know each other's names. This is so beautiful. You have name tags. It's awesome. All right. Good. We're going to be doing that a couple times throughout the course of the class. So now you know how to do that. That part of your skill set is warmed up. Now we're going to stand up. Again, put everything out of your hands. We're going to warm up our bodies and our sense of rhythm. So stand with your feet nice and comfortable under both hips. Be soft at the ankles, knees, and hips so you're a little bit shorter than usual. Everybody's always telling you to stand up straight. I'm telling you to be shorter, okay? Because we can relax our bodies and get nice and grounded if we let ourselves be a little shorter. We're going to use our hands like soft mallets. We're going to tap our body. This is a sequence that I will lead you through. It is adapted from Aikido, martial arts form. We're going to start at the bottom, right underneath our knees. If you need to adjust your spacing a little bit so that you're not running into anything, go ahead and do that. We're going to tap 8 times in the fleshy part underneath your knee. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Over the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top of the leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Over the heart. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other side of the chest. 3, 4. Letting the weight of the hand give you a quick massage. Now, at this point, we're going to go to the top of our head, but instead of dropping the weight of our arm into the head, we're going to actually flick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to continue to use our fingertips softly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top of the chest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To finish, strong stomp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That sounds so great in this room. I love that. Let's do it one more time. I won't have to stop because now you know the sequence and you know that you can follow me the whole time. Just really let the sensation of your hands enter the skin, muscle, and bones to give you that nice refreshment all over your body. It's a little moment of compression, which is going to accelerate your circulation. Okay? Here we go together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top of the knee. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top of the leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Over the heart. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other side. 2, 3, 4. This is your warm up, so please make the most of it. And top of the head. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And under the jaw. And over the chest. 5, 6, 7, 8. Down the leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh. I liked how fast it got at the end. That was fun. I'm going to make one variation so that this feels a little bit more like ourselves instead of strangeness in the center of the gym. What you just did by speeding it up, I'm going to keep that. So when we do this one more time, we're going to go a little faster. How else might we make this more fun and fit us better? What could we do? What could we add?
A leap.
A leap. All right. We're going to add a leap at the end of every phrase. 8 and. 8 and a 1, 2, 3. Okay? We're just going to give ourselves a little lift off the ground. Anything else that you would like to add? All right. Here we go. It's going to go faster. God bless me. If I mess it up, look over there somewhere. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hop. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hop. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What are we doing? There we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And stop. 2, 3, 4. Ooh. There, I like it. Awesome. Rub your hands together. Wipe your forehead. I have never done that variation before. Thank you so much. That was good. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. All righty. Have a seat. Now we're going to warm up your character, your sense of character. And so I'm going to introduce 2 of the characters. You will see them working together. What I want you to do as you're watching, notice what's happening in their bodies. Notice what you hear. And at the end, I will have a question for you, okay? We'll do a little conversation.
The warrior of the light is always trying to improve. Every blow of her sword carries with it centuries of wisdom and meditation. Each movement in combat honors previous generations. The warrior develops the beauty of her blade. A warrior knows that there are occasional pauses in the battle. She notices that she is tense and afraid. The warrior makes sure that her sword is sharp, her heart satisfied, that faith still fills her soul. The warrior knows that an angel and a devil are always competing for her sword hand.
End scene. Thank you. Great. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn to the right or left or both, depending on your duet or trio status. What do you now know about the warrior? What do you know about the warrior character, just based on that very brief study? Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to listen a little bit. What do you know about the warrior?
I was going to say she struggles with good and evil, since the angels and the devils compete for her sword hand.
That's a great line. Yep, you got it. Did you notice anything?
The same thing for myself.
Exactly
Yeah,
the same?
Exactly the same.
Why, yeah.
I mean, and there's like some strength with the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
She's
I really
very
like that
skilled
line.
with the stick.
Yeah, and she was pointed right at you when you heard it, or was she facing away?
I think she was pointing right at me.
Nice, yeah. I love that we can get her in the round. Excellent. Are you able to hear me? Great. All righty. Let's just hear a few reactions so that we can have a sense of how both our answer might be similar or different. There are infinite ways to answer this question. Okay? Can I ask you to volunteer to share something?
Go loud.
Okay, the warrior is very strong,
The warrior is very strong.
and her strength keeps her healthy.
Ah, her strength keeps her healthy. Yeah, yes, sir.
She's always fighting an external and internal battle.
External and internal battle. Yes, great answer.
She's like aware of her surroundings, and she anticipates things beyond her.
She is aware of her surroundings and she anticipates what's coming at her in the battle. Great. Tori?
She prepares herself in mind, body, and soul.
She prepares herself in mind, body, and soul. Two more answers. Yes.
There's an acknowledgement of lineage, history.
An acknowledgement of lineage and history. I'm only repeating you so that everybody can hear. Yeah. Could you say yours?
Yeah, she's constantly fighting a struggle between good and evil.
The struggle between good and evil. Great. So beautiful. You really warmed up your sense of seeing and hearing simultaneously and drawing deductions about that character. Great. Last thing I want to warm up before we go into the content of today's class is your ability to hear multiple stories simultaneously and make sense. Make your own sense of it. Okay? So in this moment, you're going to hear 5 stories. Stand up. I want the inner circle to walk 5 paces to the right. I want the outer circle to walk 5 paces to the left. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Volunteer yourself to a new chair, duets, trios. Just don't get isolated in this one. Oh, yeah, see? There's some recruiting going on. I love it. Yeah. Do you want to go over there by Tina? Go over there by Tina. Excellent. All right.
When I was 7 years old, we went to Taco Bell twice a week. Who the fuck goes to Taco Bell twice a week? My parents were divorced and it was all and we argued about which was better, Burger King or McDonald's. What kind of argument is that? I can still hear the sound of the straw going into the plastic lid like nails on a chalkboard.
Chemical factories release substances into our environment with abandon. There's a stench when you're nearby a chemical factory that's like nothing you've ever smelled in the natural world. ExxonMobil, Dow,
We fished in that
Monsanto.
river.
I'm the mother of a small child.
That river that
We
tasted
know what
like
in our air and our water. We don't know what these chemicals can do. We don't know
Air
what they
that
will do.
smelled like shit from that smokestack that stood above us like the fucking Eiffel Tower. We fished in that river.
Nearby a chemical factory that's
That river that tasted like shit. We breathed the air. The air that smelled like shit. From the smokestack that stood above us like the fucking Eiffel Tower.
Cures for cancer in the sap of a tree in the Amazon rainforest. But the Bush administration underfunded that program so miserably that she got frustrated and she quit. She quit.
We fished in that river. That river that tasted like shit. We breathed the air. The air that smelled like shit. From the smokestack that stood above us like the fucking Eiffel Tower.
End scene. Great, thank you. Turn to your neighbor, right or left or both, and try to figure out what of those stories that I could hear, what might be an overarching topic? How can I make sense of those stories living together? Go ahead, give it a try. This is not an easy moment. It's not an easy moment. Can I overhear just as you're figuring it out? Go ahead.
Well, I guess from the overarching topics, the overarching stories, I think the main topic that was being discussed is probably top companies, because I heard Taco Bell, I heard chemical waste. Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
What did you hear?
The fishing, so like main, I guess like food sources, environment.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Yeah, you heard it plenty. Nice. All right. All right, let's give this a try. What kinds of topics came up for you when you were making sense of all this confusing language? Please just volunteer to give it a try. There's absolutely no right answer. Yes?
I think it was talking about genetically modified agriculture.
About genetically modified agriculture.
Talking about the social determinants of health and how their conditions individually affected them.
Can you just stand up and say that really loud?
How the social determinants of health affected them individually.
Yes, Dennis.
A general lack of control about what's going on.
A general lack of control about what's going on in these people's environments? Yep. Cool. I'd love to hear just two more, because it's always fascinating to me about how people make sense of confusion. Alex?
I would say they were generally unhappy memories or recollections.
Yeah, there's a sense of unhappiness. There's some battle. Yes. Privacy?
Poverty.
Poverty, yes. Yep. I would say poverty and wealth in those stories a lot. Good. Okay. Well, Stephen, we have warmed up the audience. Why don't you come on over? We're going to sit in the interview chairs. And here's what's going to happen next. Do you go by Professor Thomas? What do you call? Professor Thomas is going to guide us through a kind of a typical conversation that you might hear in class. He's going to present it as an interview or lecture format, and we're going to have to belt it. Yeah. And the performers are going to be moving in and around and through. Okay. I need a timekeeper. I know some of you all kept your phones. Who has a phone? Do you have a timekeeper? Do you have a stopwatch? Okay. You're going to set your timer for 7 minutes. No matter where we are in the conversation, we're going to have to stop. Okay? So we will just be going on the information that we're given after that. We're going to trust that we hear plenty and that we see plenty. All right. So, Stephen, what is the topic today?
The topic for our discussion today will be access to dental care.
Can you hear over there? No. Let's stand up. Okay,
So the topic is
do
gonna
this,
be-
do this, do this.
Okay.
Instead of talking from here, talk nice and low and right from your feet.
Okay.
All right. We're going to give him a booming voice.
The topic works.
Yeah, see?
Today is about access to quality dental care.
Great. So, you have a very particular experience with that in a recent research project. Was that in PG County?
Right here in Prince George's County, right here on our campus, September 2014.
Great. So please describe to us some of the components of the problem and how you got interested in that issue.
In 2007, speaking from my feet,
yes,
a 12-year-old boy died in this county because he had an infection in his tooth that went to his brain, and after 2 surgeries, he died. Over $100,000+ in care that could have been solved with a fraction of that. His name was DeMonte Driver. And as a result of his death, laws were passed across the state of Maryland to make sure that children and pregnant women had access to dental care. And that is the case today. But not their parents, not the adults in their family. And for a pregnant woman, after she delivers her baby, she is no longer eligible for free care. So in September of 2014, working with Catholic Charities, we hosted an event on this campus to provide free dental care. We put 100 dental chairs in the arena, Xfinity Center, and thousands of people showed up, slept outside overnight just to get dental care. Many of the students, some may have actually been volunteers, over 1,800 volunteers. Over 2 days, we served 1,085 people, and 1,500 people were sent away because demand exceeded capacity. We are 11 miles from the White House, and that was an amazing thing to see, that people were that desperate, that much in need, and slept outside to get dental care. It also showed what we can do when we partner together. But you should know that events like that are sometimes called Band-Aids. And even the health professionals criticize those kinds of events as not solving the real root problem, and actually may make it worse because somehow we take away the tension that exists between our policies and what actually happens in the real world. Many of the people who showed up at the event had jobs, they had insurance, some even had dental insurance, but the out-of-pocket expenses were still too expensive.
I'm going to ask another question to embed in your conversation, which is, how would you describe the social determinants involved in that healthcare problem?
One of the problems with adult dental care is that there have been laws passed to ensure that if you have Medicare, people in this room know Medicare, Medicaid, insurance coverage. We've passed legislation to make sure that people living in poverty have access to care. But when they call the dentist office, they're told we don't take that form of insurance. So here we have a policy solution, but on the ground when it gets implemented, the actual providers say we don't take that kind of insurance. The other thing that we found is that the same people who showed up for emergency dental care were also at risk for other chronic diseases that could be prevented. Issues like smoking and obesity and type 2 diabetes. But they would never sleep outside overnight for those things. So it shows that the dental care, free access, is what draws the people. And when the event is over, they all go home and are actually lost to follow-up.
So why are they lost to follow-up?
The event is designed as an emergency, and there is no attempt to enroll those people in a dental home or a medical home, and they just go back wherever they came from until the next moms. And some of these people are so in need that they follow these events across the state, simply to get the rest of the care that they could not get when they came to our event.
What kinds of problems are people walking into with those emergency clinics?
In these clinics, we provided $1.2 million worth of care to 1,000 people over 2 days. Hundreds of teeth were pulled because they were so infected. Many people had multiple issues, but we could only do one of them. And many people had been to these events before, and many of their teeth had already been removed. As I mentioned to you, they came for dental care, but they also had other risk factors for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, smoking. And since they were there, we think that we should try to figure out a way of taking care of their other medical needs.
Okay. I'm gonna pause you. Let's sit for a second. Finishing in 3 more passes. And end scene. Performers back to home base. Great. Good. Good, 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 good. Nice. Okay. Great. Well done. Nice. Okay. Excellent. I want you to think about some of the information you've just heard from Professor Thomas. I want you to think about a situation that is embedded in the topic. So for now, if it helps to close your eyes to concentrate, you might want to do that. Take a moment to find a situation in your mind that relates to the topic and turn that into a scene from a movie so you can really see it on a cinematographic level. I'm going to ask you a series of questions about this scene that you're starting to create in your imagination, so that it'll help you get clearer about the scene. But before I do that, just whisper right and left, what are you starting to imagine? And make sure that you have something before we move on. Go ahead, talk right and left. What's the scene? This is a situation embedded in the topic. He was talking for about 7 minutes. There was a ton of action. And now I'm asking you to refine, find just a moment in what he said that is somehow emblematic of the problem. And if you are having a struggle finding one, as a trio or a duet, you could share. Okay? I just want to make sure that before we move on, everyone has a situation in their mind. Tori, you got one? What's yours?
Robin Hood.
Sorry?
Robin Hood. Like,
Robin Hood.
Because, like, medical care is so expensive, and then so those people can afford it.
Cool. All right. Good. So, for example, I just want to make sure we're good. For example, I might decide to really see the boy who died at the beginning of Stephen's lecture. I might want to just focus on him in the next part of this exercise. Okay? Now, Tori, you took a very interesting fictionalized angle, which is good. We are now in anything is possible mode, okay? And you added this kind of Robin Hood scenario in the story. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Dr. Thomas was saying about how they provided millions of dollars in medical care or dental care over the course of a few days, and just the struggle between having inflated costs for necessary treatment
You can't hear anything she said. Sorry. I was right in front of her. It's so hard to talk in this room. She is really interested in the struggle between resources and not getting them to the right people necessarily, but her story was much better than what I'm repeating. I totally paraphrased. Hold on to that, okay? All right. Could I have one more person share the situation that they're going to explore in your imagination for a moment? Lexi, I'm coming for you. What is the situation that you're starting to explore in your mind? No, this is for you and Mike to figure out. Did you talk back and forth?
Yeah, we did.
What was the one that you guys talked about?
We talked about how when they were on the floor, it was representing the kid who died and how people was trying to look for like health insurance.
Ah. Okay, I'm just going to grab a moment of that. People looking for health insurance. Yes? People looking for health insurance was one situation embedded in what Stephen was just talking about. Okay? So, let's give this a shot, all right? In your mind's eye, I need you to imagine people in this situation. Who is there? Who is there? Where are they? What is the environment? What is the problem or tension that you see in your imagination? What is the relationship between the people that you see? And what are they hoping to accomplish? All right. Okay, so returning back to me, now that you have a nice crystal clear image, we're going to build a short scene based on one of these images later, okay? But for now, can I just hear a couple of these scenes in your mind? What has happened in your imagination to flush out the situation? Can I hear what yours is?
I see a family struggling to get health insurance or any help, and they're a loving family, but they're not enough below the poverty line to get insurance, and they don't make enough to get insurance.
Okay. Her scenario is about a family trying to get health insurance, and they are just kind of above the poverty line so that they're not available to get other support, right? Beautiful scenario. Got it. Can we hear another one? Yes.
I imagine my own experience. When I needed dental care, I needed a lot, and my parents are well off, but they still, it still costs a lot, and they still would, you know, not make me feel bad, but just always talk about how expensive it was and how they were still struggling with trying to pay those off.
Okay, so you're talking about a personal experience. You needed a lot of dental care, and even though your parents were pretty comfortable, it was still a real push. And you remember hearing them talk about how expensive it was. Great, great. So you've now adapted Professor Thomas's lecture to your own personal experience. Great. Can we hear another? Yes, sir.
Basically, like a little boy just died. But the fact that he died is sad. But the most surprising part was that he wasn't ill on anything, at least not physically, because it was his dental infection that got him killed. So it was a shock and a surprise to his family. And they was, I imagining they're in a poor neighborhood.
Yeah, so is it Isabel?
Yes.
So Isabel is really sending her attention to that scene of the little boy dying, and that it would have been a shock to the family that there was that could have killed him, that there was an infection that could have killed him, right? So some educational stuff going on. All right. We've talked about a variety of scenarios. What we're going to do now is use the company to build a scene that will represent that problem. We're going to set it in motion, and then we're going to find ways to solve the problem. There are a number of ways to do it, okay? So let's do this, because we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, company. In your story, who of the company, company start to form the scene? So you remember her story was that she needed a lot of dental care. And even though her family was pretty comfortable, it was still way above and beyond what she needed. And so it was still a financial problem. And you said you tried not to feel guilty, but...
Yeah, they tried to make me not feel guilty, but they always just mentioned how much of a financial thing.
They were trying to not make you feel guilty, but you really understood that this was a financial issue for you. Okay. So what we're going to do now, company, do you need any extra details? You're good? Okay. So everyone stand up. The company is going to turn this into a GIF. Yes? We, along the outside, are going to take a full 360. I know that I've had you practice moving just 5 steps at a time. This time we're going to take a full 360. Yeah, they can work on that. We're going to walk all the way slowly around the circle and end up back at this very same chair. As you do this, please look very closely at the characters and get more and more detail filled into this scenario. Right? So we had the basic, but now you're going to really try to figure out who are all these characters, what is their concern, where's the tension, where's the problem, and we're just going to ramp up the detail level at the end. So by the time you get back to your chair, you should have lots more details about this scenario. All right? Let's just give it a shot. Here we go. We're going to walk in a circle, slow. You're going to come right back to the same chair. Look carefully as you go. Who are all of the people in this picture? Who are all of the people in the picture? Each of them has some kind of concern or worry or problem. You might notice which character is most interesting to you. Who do you want to know more about? And then as you get back to your chair, kind of settle in and be super clear about what detail you now see more clearly, because I'm going to want to hear a couple of these. And end scene. No, stay there. Stay. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. Stay. Very quickly, I need some rapid fire detail. Go.
There basically was just like a mom and dad, and they were being given the prices, and they showed their reactions, and there was a doctor and a patient.
Right, so the details that she's seeing is really about the full scene. They're getting the bill, they're reacting. I need you to go more detail, more detail. Go.
Well, it seemed like when she has a dental problem, she sees like what the problem is. The mom is like down quiet, and then the dad is looking to the person who has the prices, and she's getting a confirmation.
She's getting a confirmation? Great. Focus on just one character as I ask you for detail. Go ahead.
Who she's laying on, I don't think that's a person. I think that's the internal guilt.
That's the internal guilt. So you're seeing the internal guilt of the person who's, this is the internal guilt for her. Interesting. Yep. Great detail. Yes.
I think both of them, the lady and the guy, both of them were shocked, but they express they are shocked in a different way.
They are shocked in different ways about the expense. Good. One more. Yes, dear.
She's gonna help
The patient is helpless. She can just look around. Yeah, okay. So, really good looking and figuring out. Now, we have the warrior. And in this last repetition of the scene, we get to solve the problem in any way we want. The warrior is all powerful for us right now. Everything is possible. So, I'm going to ask you to solve the problem. And we are going to try to figure out, now what did she do? What did she set in motion that solved the problem? Are you okay with this, Twee? We talked about it as a possibility. Are you sure you're okay with it? Great. All right? The warrior is going to enter the space, solve the problem in some way, and then we just get to notice, wow, what happened? So watch very carefully about how the warrior is going to change this little bit of action here. So let it establish. Freeze scene. Okay. Thank you, company. Everybody stand and move 5 steps in towards me. Come close, come close, come close, come close. Great. So how would you make sense of what you just saw? What happened? What did the warrior do? Yes?
Took out the internal guilt.
Took away the guilt?
She basically made them realize that the issue isn't about the money. The issue is that she has a health issue that needs to be addressed. It's not the money that's the problem. It's the issue that she needs her mouth to be worked on. And that's,
okay.
What really needs to be acknowledged.
She acknowledged the priority. Interesting. Okay. Yes. Great.
She gave the bureaucrats empathy.
Ah. Where did you see that?
We saw it when she brought the note takers, the people with the numbers in allied with the family.
Yeah, and that was actually the
sympathetic way.
And that was the first thing you did, right? Warrior? Mm-hmm. What else did she do? What else happened in the scene? Yes?
She takes out the dentist, and I assume it might be about salary or the cost and why the cost is so much.
Did you see her as dentist?
I saw her as dentist.
Great, great. Some people read her as a different character. That's cool. Anything else? Yes?
She involved the patient in the process.
The patient got up. Yes.
She had everyone come together, so just one person can't solve the problem. We all have to work towards figuring out.
And I noticed that all of the characters were on the same physical level and all connected, right? So there were a couple ways that was shown. Excellent. Yes, dear.
The warrior joined as well, so she kind of added strength to it.
The warrior was right there in the picture. That change agent stayed, right? Or where did you go? I was behind. Yeah. Okay. Good. Shake it out. My last question. What would you like to know more about dental health in PG County, specifically, but access to dental health in the larger context, now that you've experienced this work? Turn to somebody to the right or left, figure it out. You must have an answer. What are you more curious about now, today, at the end of the experience? Can you say it? I'd love to hear.
The quality of care.
You want to learn about quality of care?
Yeah, just because I know that there's some good dentists and some bad dentists
Great.
out there.
Right, all right, good answer.
That's my answer.
What do you got? What do you want to learn more about?
Pretty much the ability of a patient to have more control.
Great. All right, pause. I need 5 answers before we leave the room. I need 5 before we leave. Shout them out fast. Quick.
Okay, like what does the most basic insurance cover?
What does the most basic insurance cover?
Quality of care.
What is the range of quality of care?
Patient having more control.
How can patients have more control? Fast.
Why they would cover adults?
Why don't they cover adults?
There's complete transparency between insurance company, patient, and doctor.
Shout that out so I don't have to repeat it.
If there's complete transparency between the patient, doctor, and insurer.
So how to get more transparency into the problem. Excellent. Yes, one more. How can we educate more people about dental health? You have been brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this experiment. You are brilliant, and I know you have things to go do, so I appreciate your time. Let me introduce you. Yeah.
This is a small, it's a short period of time and a challenge with the ambiance, but they got it.
Yeah, that ended.
How did you like their answers at the end about what they're more curious about? Because that for me is the big issue.
They were on target. I mean, why is this happening in America? It does not happen in any other industrialized country in the world. Only here. Just like the spike in the drug prices. That doesn't happen anywhere else. So it's when we let the market and capitalism drive our caring for those who are most vulnerable. Maybe scenes like that, thousands of people showing up, maybe the cameras will make someone say, you know, why? But when they pass legislation in the past and say, okay, we're going to make it eligible for Medicare, but if the provider says we don't take that, I mean, it's just a mess.
Yeah. So
our focus is on how do we alleviate human suffering even in the midst of a broken system, and to get them to think outside the box, which you actually did. I was so impressed.
So what was surprising about their reactions to you? What
They
what
got
do you
it.
think?
I wasn't quite sure. I don't think anyone, I mean, the typical classroom, they can't even move their chairs. Okay, they're sitting in rows and this is health policy, so they're also further removed from the individual case.
Right.
So they got into it. I mean, for her in this setting, to tell her personal story, not some generic story, but look at her, she's beautiful, she's got a beautiful smile. Now.
Right.
Now that smile now opens doors for her. Imagine whatever those parents were sacrificing to keep doors open for her. I've seen people with very poor, I mean, there's a lot of shame that still goes with it, and people make judgments, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So people truly are desperate.
As I was walking around, I don't know if I said a particular thank you for her story, so I want to get that message to her.
Would you? Yeah.
Because it made it way more interesting that we had somebody who was talking about their own experience as opposed to this is a situation that I'm imagining based on the lecture.
Yeah.
So that helped me actually. I think next time I do this, I'm going to ask the question so that we can go to a personal place instead of that I'm going to grab something from what he just said. So, and I mean, almost always we talk about.
Somebody saw the dentist's guilt. I saw it as a dentist that took the health professional because they are part of the problem, not the patient. But someone saw it as the guilt. And that was really insane.
That was really interesting to have the metaphor of that. Yeah.
Because I'm saying, why is the dentist shocked? It's his job, her job. Mm-hmm. You were more shocked than the parents.
What were you thinking about when you created that character?
Expensive.
Her mom.
Oh, interesting.
But then I realized there were 2 moms, and I was like, what's going to come out of this? And I just
and just stay with it.
The choice.
Yeah.
But
well, you had white pants, so I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Yeah. It's a little bit of the costuming.
Even I actually have a friend who's in a dental crisis, and her dentist does go into shock because his policy he's created, he can't treat her.
Oh.
But he feels a
For
moral
her.
obligation to treat her. But it's going against everything he's telling everyone in his office to support.
Wow.
So it's a,
Now, my brother is a doctor. He said he could is a GP. He said he could get rid of his accountant. He could get rid of like 3 business people, hire a wellness person, hire a nutritionist, if he didn't have to deal with all the different policies. Like, he can't figure out what copay goes with what plan anymore.
Wow.
He'll have a staff person to figure it
Right,
out.
he has like
pay for
he has like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Like, just figuring out what they owe.
They have to do it. Yeah. But his medical practice could be completely different
Right,
if he were not stuck in that
Right,
place.
it would be more holistic.
If he didn't have to work. Yeah.
But the death of DeMonte Driver, because he was innocent, for adults they think it's your fault. He was a child. And then they blamed his mom for why didn't she take him to his appointments. It was tragic.
Yeah.
But the laws were passed afterward, but only for children and pregnant women.
Well, and I was thinking in that moment, pregnant women are actually not supposed to get their teeth scraped. You're not supposed to go to the dentist while you're pregnant.
Early on, you're supposed to go for the prophylaxis because the infection in the mouth actually is transferred to the baby.
Oh.
It makes the baby's teeth more vulnerable to cavities even before they come out. That's the new science. So
and they don't floss you. I mean, I just had a baby. They don't floss you or do anything.
What do they
when
do?
you're-
Just put on a
You know when
fluoride?
you're breastfeeding because you bleed so much. So they.
Well, they're trying to prevent the bacteria from spread. So the idea is to get your mouth as clean as possible before you deliver.
Oh, interesting.
And
it's complicated.
It's paid for, but many pregnant women, by the time they find out, they're already too far along in their pregnancy, and it can't be done. The other group are people who suffer from heart disease, heart valve disease. One of the most common reasons you get a heart valve infection is it starts in the mouth and it attacks the heart. So if they want to actually replace your valve, we met with some cardiologists, had a long list of people. They said, listen, you need a heart valve replacement, but we can't replace your valve until you get your mouth cleaned up. But they can't afford to get their mouth cleaned up. So they're sitting on a waiting list. And in between that time, they come into the emergency room. So
Right. Yeah.
Truly, truly expensive. Dentists and the physicians don't even talk to one another. Except in that event we created.
Right.
Because we took a space like this and created something that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Then they all went back to their silos.
Yeah.
And lost the patients until the next time.
Right. Well, you did brilliantly with the interview scenario. And is there anything from your experience on the inside of this exercise, and you might have to go away and process a little bit, but any kind of instant responses beyond, wow, the students got it, I feel like they...
Well, you also had the director of the program. I wasn't expecting her to be here. These students come from the public health science program.
Do you want a chair?
No.
Okay.
And the director, I'm trying to get like you guys. The director was here.
Who was the director?
Her name is Barbara Alvin.
Oh, great. Okay.
She was in a gray pantsuit.
Yeah. And I don't know what she thought.
Yeah.
But I saw her smiling.
Uh-huh.
And then when the students came through, then it was very clear. They got it. You had them thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what this is all about.
Yeah, just...
If I might have some feedback for you to maybe give her, just as a observer in the process, when you were talking, the fact that there was dancing going on, movement going on, a potential distraction.
Sorry guys, we're still filming, so thanks. It's okay.
Trying to hear what you were saying, so that it was almost like there's a distracting influence that made you really want to focus on what you were saying, rather than the alternative of you just standing up in a quiet room where the chairs are off, but the potential for distraction made you really focus on.
Robin! Thank you for helping me find that voice.
Yeah.
That was great.
Little vocal, yeah. You responded so easily. It was good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Good to meet you today.
Robin, step here. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Robin's the research teaching assistant. She's a doctoral student in the department, so she spends a lot of time with the students. So, what do you think?
I think they were all kind of skeptical at first, but then as we moved on,
they got more and more into it. I was kind of surprised at how many people, raised their hand and offered their answers, and I think they enjoyed it in the end.
How about the young lady that shared her personal story?
I thought that was great.
Did it surprise you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if the goal, for me right now in this project, the goal is to go, the goal is to become more curious and invested in the topic, right? And I really enjoyed their questions at the end, because for me, that could be the curriculum for the very next class.
Sure.
So that there's some sort of a, wow, that was all worth it, and now we're getting our questions answered, or we're at least finding a new place that we might want to pursue. Like, I could hear a couple of them were really engaged in the policy questions. Other people were more interested in public health education side of it. And so tell me, these were all students from which school?
The Public Health Science degree program in the School of Public Health. So many of them will go on, their undergrads, they'll go on to some field in the health sciences, some medicine, some physical therapy, or health policy that they want to run a hospital or something.
So it's a really integrated team.
Yes, these are all, well, they're not all
they're mostly
freshmen.
sophomores and juniors.
Okay. But in a way, they are an interdisciplinary medical team of the future.
In many ways they are, from
Yeah.
policy to actual providers. I come back to the young lady's story because you would never know. I mean, you look at her and you see her smile. I mean, her willingness to open up to that was, I still find it quite remarkable.
But it was very personal too, because she was talking about how she felt guilty that her parents kept saying, like, oh, well, it's fine, but it's really expensive. But we're not mad at you, but it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And if any of you
It's
know,
not your fault, but
But-
we're sacrificing things for you.
Yeah,
We're struggling.
Right.
So that was quite fascinating. And the guilt that I think she still feels to some degree. Now, in our debriefer, we were to debrief with her to see that the lady with the sword solved the problem by really bringing the providers and everyone to the level of the patient. That's the most important thing. I mean, that's what they all got out of this.
Yeah.
That's also the answer to the big problem we have here. It's really about not blaming the patient, but caring for them.
I hustled through that moment. In another scenario, I would ask the participants to suggest and then have TWE play out their suggestions. But it was magical in a different way to have you solve it, and you knew that that was a possibility.
So you didn't know who you were going to slay it before you did it.
It was we all didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah, so and so the improvisational component of it, I think, charges a group to see what's going to happen. We're all kind of curious, the magic of that moment.
You guys are so professional. I say that because, if by being in character, they realize this is serious. I mean, you guys
staying in
got
serious the
that
whole time.
space, it's like, this is real.
Right.
These aren't actors or kid actors. These are like serious people.
Yeah.
I have to say too, I sat in a rehearsal on Monday, and one of my questions was at that stage, like, can you build ensemble in a week? And I was so impressed by the sense of ensemble, and then thinking about what that demonstrates to these students in terms of collaborative, working together in an interdisciplinary way.
Because they have to work in teams, right?
Yes.
Another question that I just want to say out loud so I don't forget it. We're going to go back to the studio and debrief for about an hour or so. Another question, when we have more time, is, so what do you want to know about this topic, right? Which is where they came up with policy and all sorts of interesting relationship stuff. And do you have any questions about the art form? Because I think that, and I might have to trigger that earlier in the experience, that we're seeing this both from a public health perspective, and we're seeing it as, oh, now we're involved in this artistic experience. Because I'm just curious, there might be some people who might be really drawn to one of your characters and kind of get interested in that performance side of things. So it's a possible follow-up question too. On Wednesday, I think I told you, we did this in an hour and a half. And so to be able to pull it down to about 45 minutes was incredibly fantastic. Yes.
Was your audience different?
It was a totally different audience. We probably had, the age range was like 7 to 85. Many different cultures in the room. From like, oh, I live 3 doors down from the theater and I come over here all the time, to theatrical colleagues, to medical professionals, to the kids. Who were the kids? They
volunteered there, right?
The theater tech program at Joe's.
They're the what?
Theater tech program participants.
There's a theater tech program, like, yeah, all of that. Thank you, Erica. Love you, mean it. She has an audition. She has a callback. So, she should have gone earlier. Anyway, sorry about that. I told her to go as soon as we were done, and she was done 10 minutes ago. Anyway, so this really helps. If you have any feedback after the fact, like next time you see the students, and if they go, what the hell did you put us through? Yeah. Or if there's like any realizations, if you could take like a couple minutes just to say, so what was that for you? I would love to get that kind of information, and whatever Barbara has to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will definitely follow up with Barbara and my co-instructor, Dr. Francini, who happens also to be the chair of the department. So I'll follow up with both of them.
Great.
Let me ask you this: what's happening with the post-production?
What are we doing next?
Well, what are you going to actually do with the videography?
What I need next is a 2-minute promo trailer, so that it can serve as an invitation for other people, like all over the School of Public Health, to create these scenarios for their students, or take it to a conference setting or retreat, like anywhere people want to dive into a topic in a different way to get more curious and invested.
So you can fix with voiceover and
she's going to make some magic.
Okay.
I would imagine that a lot of what happened here is going to be more B-roll for strong vocals over top.
That's fine.
Yeah, but we want to show both of those audiences, because she filmed on Wednesday too.
Sure.
That this scenario can happen in a black box. It can happen in a gym. It can happen with all of these different types of people. It can be 2 different topics.
Well, depending on how, if you needed any still images to rotate in terms of that particular story about the dental thing, we have them online on a Flickr account, so you have thousands of people in line. You have the dentist actually treating
dental
chairs.
The scene that he was talking about.
So when I'm talking about, however much of it's picked up, if you do voiceover, these still images will take your audience to see the scope and scale.
Right. Oh, that could be really helpful.
Send those to you. And some of that's in that Dropbox.
Video. Oh, in the Dropbox too. Okay, great. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you so much. I want to see what your final product looks like.
Yes.
Meeting all of you.
Very good. Thank you, Stephen. So we are going to take lunch break. I am supposed to pop in and say hello to Jane Clark very quickly. And I'm going to be on a phone call at 12:30 also about this and the National Center for Creative Aging, because they're interested in seeing if we could include something like this at their national conference next June. So I just want to get that conversation rolling while they're interested in hot. So, and we need to both transition back to Joe's and have your lunch. Let's say we start again at 1:30 and we only go until 2:30. So we will have an hour.
End of day was 2.
You thought end of day was 2. Did you all think that was the day?
I thought it was the email that said 2.
Okay, that was my mistake. So then I am going to tighten us a tiny bit. Can we start at 1:15 and go until 2? Awesome.
What time is it now?
It's
12:15.
Oh.
It's 12:10, yeah. I would recommend you get a ride back with somebody else, just in case I get hijacked by either Jane or this phone call. Excellent.
Please, I can take you. I'm going straight to Joe's. I'm going straight to Joe's. I brought my lunch with me, so. Okay, great. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Sound good?
Thank you so much. I love having you.
Yeah.
So much. Should we put the chairs back?
They're waiting for you to say, no, you don't have to.
No. I'm going to say no. If we all take 5 chairs back, it'll be done. Go ahead. Take them back. Sorry. Thank you.
It's great. I was so impressed.
Really?
Just like I mean, I don't know if you cut this now. I can tell you more later. But,
yeah, we'll debrief better.
It's what's really stimulating to me is this movement from simple tasks of interpretation to bigger imagining, with your really great goal of increasing interest in investment. Because I think I definitely had that sense just in myself, like, yeah, public health, what's public health? You know, but hearing this story, and then like, oh, what are the stories in my life? Imagining something as a movie that made me go to really some interesting places, understand the issues. So, you know, I think you're holding in a pretty tight package some